Good morning students, welcome back to SS online classes. I hope you all are fit, fine and safe at your home. Today we are going to start with a new chapter and the name of the chapter is chapter 20, Human Settlements. Now as you all know that human beings when they started living, right, they started trying to improve their conditions in which they live. Now the early human beings, they used to live in caves, they used to eat raw food, plus they used to wear the clothes which were made up of leaves and animal skins, plus they led a nomadic life. Nomadic life means what? They used to travel from one place to another place in search of food and water, plus the shelter for themselves. And after the invention of agriculture, when the agriculture was invented, that time the human beings, they started to live a settled life. The settled life means what? They settled down at one place and they did not have to search for the food and for the places for the shelter. And in this way, the first settlement that came into existence was the human settlements. Along with that, how the settlements have been changed, along with that, the life of the human beings have also changed. With the time, several human beings, they got engaged into different activities. Plus, these human beings started building homes for themselves. Then the means of transportation was developed, the communication was developed, new ideas were discovered with the help of the communication. Plus, new ideas were discovered about the livelihood, that how the life should be there, how the lifestyle of the different persons should be there. And now in this chapter, you are going to study about the different types of settlements, transport and communication. So the first topic is, what is a settlement? So a cluster of houses forms a settlement. Cluster means what? It's a group. So a group of houses can be called as a settlement. Now a cluster must be, it can be of few huts, few houses or a number of big houses. It can be any number, but it should be in a group. Large clusters, they develop into towns or cities. The settlements require, what are the requirements of the settlement? Now the settlements requires, the first thing is the suitable land. What is the requirement? Suitable land. Then the second thing is, water should be available over there. So the availability of water is the essential requirement for any settlement. Then the climate should be favorable. And the last one, fertile soil should be there. For agriculture purposes, you need a fertile soil. Then only over there the settlement can be done. Now most of the early settlements developed among the river valleys. Why they were developed among the river valleys? Because there the land was fertile, plus the availability of water was there, and that is why the early settlements started from the river valleys. Now settlements, they are basically of two types. The first one is temporary settlements and the next one is permanent settlement. Now what do you mean by temporary? As the name itself tells us that temporary settlements, they are occupied for a short period of time. That means for less time. So you can find it like in the forest, hot and cold deserts, mountains. So people, those who are living in such areas, they are not staying permanent, but they stay for temporary, that is only for a short period of time. People living in such settlements often practice hunting, gathering, fishing, shifting cultivation and transhumance. Means what are these occupations? What do people do over there? So they engage in such type of practices like hunting, gathering, fishing, shifting cultivation, transhumance. Okay. Nowadays all settlements, big or small, have developed as permanent settlements. Means these were the early settlements, temporary, but nowadays the people, wherever they stay permanently. Okay. These settlements are called permanent because they have a layout plan. Okay, layout means what? Whatever the plan is there of their settlements, that is perfect. That the layout is perfect of that plan. And for example, what are the things that are there in this plan? It has houses for residential purposes. Houses for residential purposes. Residential means what? For living. Okay. Plus it has buildings for commercial purposes. Commercial purposes means what? For doing businesses. Okay. Where the shops are there, different malls are there. Okay. So these all things, they are coming under commercial purposes. Plus there are some other facilities available apart from this. That is, there are schools, hospitals, offices, other services like that. Okay. Then the metal roads are there, the streets are are there. Metal means what? There must be tar road or cement concrete road. Okay, so different types of roads are there and different types of streets are there, so that they can communicate with each other, or the transportation system can be improved with the help of these roads. And that is why these settlements, they can be classified again into rural settlements and urban settlements. Now from the name itself you can come to know what are the settlements, what types of settlements are this. The primary functions of this, like rural is what? It is basically from the village side, okay, rural areas. So villages have rural settlements where people are mainly engaged in agriculture, animal husbandry, forestry and related craft. So what is the main occupation of people, those who are in the rural settlement? They are engaged in occupations like agriculture, then husbandry. Husbandry means what? Rearing of cattle and sheep. Okay, forestry and the related crafts means related to crafts such as making some things out of iron, like goldsmith or like that. And the surrounding agricultural land is also a part of village. Means whichever the agricultural land is there, that is also a part of this village. And plus some villages, they are also in the coastal areas where the fishing is the main occupations. For example, if you go near the Konkan side in Maharashtra, there you will find many villages over there where the main occupation of the people over there is fishing. Plus many villages have developed cottage industries based on the local raw material and needs. So whatever the local raw material is available or whatever the need is there, according to that the villages have developed cottage industries in their particular area. Plus there are few houses in the rural settlements as compared to the urban settlements. Urban settlements you will find many more houses over there. In rural there are only few houses, because the people have limited wants. They don't have a wants like, you know, the cities, how the people, they want to live a luxurious life, right? But the human beings or the people who are living in the villages, they don't have the luxurious life as compared to the people living in the urban settlements areas. So their wants are limited. They include market, school, post offices, primary health centers, etc. And the shape of the rural settlements can be divided into four parts. That is compact settlements, scattered settlements, linear settlements and radial settlements. So what are compact settlements? Now compact settlements have houses built very close to each other. So the houses basically, they are very close to each other. They have a narrow winding street. Means the streets over there, you will find hardly any gaps over there. And the houses, they are very nearby. Means you can, like for example, you can see a Gokulwadi area or a Shivganj area. The houses over here are compact settlement. Why? Because the streets, they are narrow, winding. The houses are very close to each other. So these types of settlements, they are called as compact settlements, and they are mostly found in fertile river valleys and plains. So where these types of settlements are found? In fertile river valleys and plains. Then the next one is scattered settlements. What is the second one? Scattered settlements. Scattered means what? From the name itself. Means some houses will be near, very far from each other. They are scattered. One will be here, the other will be maybe some kilometers away, or 1 or 2 kilometers away, or like that. So they will be scattered. Not some, maybe only few meters away. Like that, they are scattered in different areas. So especially this type of houses you will see in the hilly areas or the desert areas, and the houses, they are spread over the large area. So their houses will be where? Over the large area. The next one is linear settlement. What is the next one? Linear settlement. Now this settlement, especially it develops among a road, a river or a canal. Wherever a road is there or a river is there, you will find such types of settlements. For example, you can see over here, suppose this is a river, okay, then you will see houses built nearby the river or the road, whatever is there. So like this settlements, this type of settlement is called as linear settlements. They have houses, row houses facing each other. Means the houses will face each other, okay. For example, here and here, this is, you can consider it as a river, or you can consider it as a row or road, street, settlements. Now what is radial settlements? The radial settlements develop when the streets radiate from a common point in all directions. Means what? It will radiate like this. Okay, this is the common point and the streets will radiate in all the directions, and the settlements you will find it over here. Like this. In all the directions you will find the settlements. Suppose these are the houses. So you are going to find it over here. So this type of settlement is called as the radial settlements, and the houses are built along the streets. Houses in the rural areas are built according to the physical environment. Now how are the houses in the rural areas? They are built according to the physical environment. Now this type of settlements, the picture is given over here in your book. See, this is the example of the compact settlement. Here you will find the houses. The houses are very close to each other, scattered. The red color indicates the houses and the structure, how the houses are laid out over there. This type is the scattered one. Here you will find, see, one house is over here, the other is here, the other is here. So you will find it like that. Now the linear, for example, it can be a river. So across the river or across the street or any road, then this is the radial. Okay, suppose this is a pond, river or whatever. According to that, the houses are spread in all the directions. So these are the different types of settlements. Now in rural areas, as I told that according to the physical environment, the structure of the houses are built over there. Plus which type of materials are used over there. So local materials are used over there. The houses, they have the thick walls, plastered with mud, thatched roof in hot regions. For example, if it is a hot region, then the roofs will be thatched. Plus slanting roofs will be there if the area is receiving heavy rainfall. So for example, if you go in areas of heavy rainfall like Konkan or any other areas, then the roof over there will be slanting like this, so that the water will not get collected on the roofs, but it will fall down. Thatched roof, the areas like hot regions, they will have the thatched roof. Straight, thatched means what? Straight roofs. Plus in some areas the houses are built on slits to avoid flood water from entering. So in the areas where there are chances that the flood water will get inside, so they are built on the slits so that the flood water cannot enter into the houses, and they can be safe in their houses during the rainy season or at the time when the floods occur. Now the next type is the urban settlements. Now from the name itself you can understand, urban means what? It is towns and the cities. So these settlements includes towns and cities. Here the people, they are mostly engaged in non-agricultural activities. Over there you will find that there are no agricultural lands over there. So many people, they are engaged in non-agricultural activities such as trade, industry, administration, banking, commerce, etc. etc. So these are the occupations in which people are engaged over there. Some urban areas, there is no difference between residential and commercial areas. Some areas you will find that there are only residential complexes. Some areas you will find that there are only business complexes or commercial complexes. But some areas you will find the mixture of this. Means what? Suppose if one building is there or any apartment is there, below the apartment on the ground floor, all the shops are there. Over there the people are doing the commercial activity like selling the things. Okay, and on the top of that, in the same apartment or in the same building, on the top of that there will be residential flats where the people are staying over there. So such type of societies also are there. You will find in the cities. Now urban settlements, they are classified according to the economic activities they perform. Means what type of activities are going on, according to that the settlements are divided. Now these settlements are divided into 5 types. The first one is administrative towns, then the second one is defense towns, third one is cultural towns, fourth is industrial towns, and the fifth is junction towns. So now what are administration towns? So administration towns are the capital cities. What are they? The capital cities from which the administration of the country is being done. For example, New Delhi, Washington, Canberra. Okay, so these are the capital cities and these are the administration towns, from which the country's administration is being done, or the process or the handling of the full country is done. The next one is defense town. Now from the name itself, now defense towns, these are the centers of the military activities. So whichever the military activities are there, in those areas or those towns are known as the defense towns. For example, Maho, Barakpur, okay, or you can say where the arms and ammunitions are also stored. Some places are there, the activities, military activities are there. For example, in Maharashtra, Pune is there, or Khadki is there. There the factory of arms and ammunition factory is there. So these are the defense towns. The next one is cultural towns. Now what are the cultural towns? From the name, where the temples are there, okay, where the religious centers are there. For example, Ayodhya, Mecca, Jerusalem, or educational centers. Not only temples or any religious centers, but some educational centers also, like Allahabad, Oxford, Shanti Niketan. So these are the cultural towns where educational plus religious, both the things are happening over there, both the activities are happening. So such towns are considered under cultural towns. The next one is industrial towns. Now industrial towns are the centers of production and the manufacturing of finished goods. Okay, all different types of goods are manufactured over there. For example, Jamshedpur, Durgapur, Rourkela, Ahmedabad, Petersburg. Okay, so these are the examples of the industrial town. Means what? Many factories will be over there, and the goods will be produced on a large scale as compared to the other areas. So these types of towns are the industrial towns. The next one is junction towns. Now what are the junction towns? They are actually located at the crossroads of the major roads or railways. For example, you can say like Marwar Junction, okay, so this is the junction town, or you can say Pune Junction, etc. So these are the junctions town where the major roads or the major railway junctions are there. For example, Mughal Sarai, Chicago, Moscow. These are the examples of the some cities or some towns in the world. Now, what is the rural-urban relationship? The rural people, they are dependent on the urban people for their needs, and even the urban people, they are dependent upon the rural people for their needs. Both are interdependent. Means what? They will buy products from rural people, and the urban peoples also, they will sell their products and they will buy some products from rural people. For example, the villages, what the villages do? They supply food grains, fruits, vegetables, agricultural raw materials, casual laborers to the town. So all these products, they are being transported to the urban people to satisfy their needs. The laborers also, the laborers which are working in the different factories or industries, where do they come from? They come from villages. The people for making their livelihood, they travel from villages to the urbans, and over there they get their employment. So the villages are providing these facilities to the urban people, while the towns or the urban people, they supply industrial goods, social and utility services, employment opportunities to the villages. Okay, so whichever the services are there, for example, now the mobile companies are there. Okay, so they are providing the free facility, or some charges are taken from them, and they are providing the facility of communication, like one can make a call from any place to anyone, right? So this type of facilities are provided from each city to another city, or from villages to towns or towns to villages. Sometimes villages adjust their cropping patterns to meet the needs of the city dwellers. Now what happens, as the city people, their wants are more as compared to the rural people, so the rural people, they have to crop their pattern. Means what? Whatever the city people are demanding, then they start engaging themselves in such type of agricultural products, so that they can meet the demands of this city people. Okay, means what? उनको जैसे खाना पसंद है, अगर फॉर एग्जांपल खाने की बात करें आप, तो जैसे उनके जो डिमांड है, तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, उसके अकॉर्डिंग क्रॉप्स फसल पकाते हैं, एंड देन दे फुलफिल द नीड्स ऑफ दैट. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस, the great strength is given to the existence of the rural and the urban settlement. Why? Because both are becoming interdependent The next topic is transportation. Now the transportation. You know that transportation, it joins the rural and urban settlements with a network, and it promotes the movement of goods and people. Means what? There is a good network between the rural and the urban settlements through different means of transport, and because of that the people, they can travel from one place to another place, plus the goods can be transported from one place to another place. It also links the center of production and consumption, means where the things are produced and where the things are consumed. Okay, so there is a link between them. जहाँ पर चीजें प्रोड्यूस होती है और प्रोड्यूस होने के बाद जहाँ पर वो बेची जाती है, जहाँ पे वो कंज्यूम की जाती है, so because of that the transportation system is required. So it is a link between them. In the modern age, even ideas and skills move from one place to another place. In the modern age, what do you mean by ideas? They move. Really, ideas move? No, because when the people, they are moving from one place to another place, they are having different ideas, they are having different skills in them, and that is why when the people are moving from one place to another place, the ideas which are there in their mind, they also move from one place to another place, and that is why the skills also move from one place to another place, and you will find that there is a mixture of these ideas and skills because of the transportation system. Plus the growth of the transportation, it depends upon the economic activities of a particular area. For example, you take Mumbai, okay, so you will find that there are lots of transportation facilities available over there, like all the railways, you know, their main junction is Mumbai, right? So people over there will, you will find all the facilities over there, you will find all the transportation, like airways, you will find waterways, railways, roadways, all the facilities, all the means of transportation are there. So the growth of transportation, it depends upon the economic activities of a particular area or a particular place. Now there are some parts in the world still the, you know, the transportation system is not developed properly, especially in village sites. If you will see, still there are many kacha roads you will find over there. The transportation is very difficult for people, you know, still they are not advanced as compared to the city people in villages. So the transportation system is still behind as compared to the urban settlements. Now the development in science and technology has created fastest means of transport. As the technology has developed, we have got the fastest means of transport also. Now land transport depends upon the effective network of roads and railways. If there is a effective roads and railways, then only the land transport is possible in the particular area or a particular country. Now water transport, for water transport, what do they need? They need the navigable rivers and canals. Navigable means what? Where the flow of the water is there, okay, means 12 months the water should be there, the flow should be there, and the density of the water should be there in that, means ऐसे नहीं कि कम पानी में आप शिप चला रहे तो चल जाएगी, no, not like that. Okay, it requires a proper amount of water, and that is why these rivers or these particular water bodies are called as navigable, because the ship or the boat or the means of the transport, different means of the water transport, they can go into that and they can move from one place to another place. Plus air transport, it requires a big airports equipped efficient means of communication, means not only airport but other facilities are also required for a airport transportation, right? The most important feature of the modern means of transport is that heavy loads can be carried over long distances in very short time. Now earlier, for carrying heavy loads, only waterways was the cheapest means of transport, and nowadays the land transport is also becoming day by day improving, and the air transport also, it is carrying heavy goods from one place to another place, and that is why it is, you know, it is becoming advanced more and more day by day. Now we are going to study about the different transportations in detail. The first one is roadways. Now roads, they are mostly used to transport people and goods across short distances. If you are traveling to short distances, then only you use the roadways. Now roads, they can be metalled or unmetalled roads. Now modern highways are well surfaced metal roads. If you will see the modern highways, then they are how? They are metalled, well surfaced, means the surface area of the road will be very good, of good quality, so that the high speed traffic can travel from one place to another place, and they are very wide. Earlier the roads were very narrow, but now the roads are very wide. As you can see on highways or expressway, you can see like 4-lane roads are there, 6-lane roads are there. So now the 8-lane roads are also being coming. Okay, so this is allowing the free movement of vehicles from one place to another place, and that to both directions they can travel. Okay, and that is why these roads, they can be built at any place. For example, they are built in mountains, deserts, forests. So different places you will find different types of roads. For example, Eastern USA and Western Europe have the densest and the best quality roads in the world. So where are the best quality roads found? Eastern USA, that is in America, and Europe. They are the densest. Densest means what? The roads are very wide and they are of very good quality. Plus, European Russia has a denser road network than Asiatic Russia. Now, Russia, they are divided, like European Russia, they are having a denser road than Asiatic Russia. Now, the Asiatic Russia, they are having the road which is little narrow as compared to the European Russia. Now, in Africa, the Trans-East African Highway between Cairo and Cape Town is under construction. Now, which road is under construction? In Africa, the Trans-East African Highway, that is under construction. The major road link in Australia is the Transcontinental Storrott Highway. Now, which is the major road link in Australia? Transcontinental Storrott Highway. Now, India is having the lowest density of road networks in world. Now, India is having which type of network? It is having the lowest density of network. The national highway system has developed to link the state capital, port towns, industrial towns, and other important cities. Now, why these roads are constructed? Because they can link the different types of towns, like industrial towns, cultural towns, to one another, and that is why this system is developed. For example, the Manali-Leh highway in the Himalayas is one of the highest roads in the world. Now, which is the highest road? The Manali-Leh highway. And the latest development in our country is the expressways, the construction of the expressways. I hope you all are understanding. The next part is railways. Now, you know that railways today, they are the fastest means of land transport, and they are suitable for long distances. If you want to travel from one place to another place and the distance is too much, then the railways is the best option for you people. Plus, the railways, they carry the raw materials to the industrial regions, and they distribute the finished goods to the inside the country, or they carry them to the port areas for the exportation purposes. So the railways are used for carrying the goods from one place to another place. And the factor which influences the development of the railway is the features of a particular region, the density of the population, the availability of natural resources, and the level of economic development. Means what? All these things are required so that the railways can be developed. Means what? The proper land should be there, the proper resources should be available, plus the density of the population should be less nearby the railway lines, and all these features are very important for the construction of a railway. Now, what are some of the important features of the railway? That the construction is cheaper as compared to the roadways, you can say, or you can say the construction of the railways is cheaper on the plains as compared to the mountains. If you want to construct a railway line on the mountains, then the cost will be very high, but if you are constructing on the plains, then it is going to be very cheaper. Then the speed and the capacity of the railway have been increased by the construction of the multiple tracks. Now, earlier there were only one track or two tracks, but nowadays if you see the railway lines, then you will find 10 to 12 tracks, maybe 20 tracks in the yard. So because of this constructions, the railway is becoming faster day by day, and the use of the diesels and the electric locomotives has also helped to increase the speed of these trains. Earlier the steam engine was there, and because of the steam engine, the engine was becoming very bulky, and that is why the capacity of that engine was very less as compared to the capacity of the diesel engines and the electrical engines, and they are very fast as compared to the steam engines. Plus, broader the gauge, the greater the capacity of the railways to carry the loads. If the gauge of the railways is big, then the capacity of the railways is big to carry the loads from one place to another place. Now the dense railway network, dense means what? If you will find lots of railway network in a particular country, then the country is considered to be more advanced than as compared to the other countries. Now some advanced countries, they have introduced the super fast trains. For example, the bullet trains in Japan, they are the super fast trains. Now with the advanced technologies, many inaccessible parts are now linked with the railways. Now as the technology is developing, the areas which were not accessible earlier, now they are accessible. Means what? One can go to that place with the help of the railways. For example, the train between the Lhasa and Zilin runs at the altitude of about 4,000 meters above the sea level. Now this is the place where the railway is running about 4,000 meters above the sea level. Now you must have seen the bridges that are constructed near the Mumbai, it is in the oceans, okay. So the construction is done, and because of that, the time which was taking by the roadways has been reduced, and many people are traveling through the local trains in Mumbai because it is very cheaper, and the consumption of the time also is very less as compared to the roadways. Western Europe and Eastern Central North America have the densest railway networks in the world. Now which is the countries that are very dense network, having very dense network, that is Western Europe, East Central North America. So these are the densest network, means what? You will find lots of trains over there, and the network is very good over there. The Trans-Siberian Railway is the longest railway system. Now which is the longest railway system? The Trans-Siberian Railway system. It connects St. Petersburg in western Russia to Vladivostok on the Pacific coast. Now from where it is connecting? It is connecting from St. Petersburg to Vladivostok in the Pacific coast. Okay, so it is covering the distance in between these two places. There are trans-Montane railway lines across the Pyrenees, Alps, Carpathians in Europe. The railway network in India is the largest in Asia. In the Asia continent, the Indian Railway is the largest railway, and plus it is the fourth largest in the whole world. Okay, it is the fourth largest network in the world. The next one is the waterways. Now waterways, these are the oldest and the cheapest means of transportation of goods or people from one place to another place. Plus the goods that can be carried is very bulky, and that is why it is very safe to carry the bulky goods in the waterways. Now waterways, it is basically of two types, you can say, or two types, comprises of two types, that is inland waterways and sea routes. Now inland waterways, navigable rivers, lakes, canals, they are used as inland waterways. Inland means what? Which is inside a particular country. So their development depends upon the depth of the water and the width of the waterways. Means how the depth is there, कितना पानी कितना गहरा है, और पानी नदी की चौड़ाई या पर्टिकुलर चीज की चौड़ाई देखते हैं, and according the flow of the water is also should be there, and accordingly only one can develop a system of waterways in that particular river or a particular ocean lake. Then for example, the Great Lakes between USA and Canada along with the St. Lawrence River is the largest and the busiest inland waterways in the world. Now which is the busiest? Busiest means what? You will find ships or boats always over there. Means the waterways is not empty over there, but it is always having some traffic in that. For example, which is the place? The Great Lakes between USA and Canada and St. Lawrence River. So these are the busiest place of waterways. Large rivers like the Nile, Amazon, Mississippi, Yangtze, Rhine and Ganga, these are also the important rivers which are used for the inland waterways. Now many countries, they have interlinked with their navigable rivers by constructing canals. Now what the countries are doing, they are connecting the rivers from one place to another place, and they with the help of the canals, and that is why they can transport from goods from one place to another place, or one country to another country. For example, you must have heard the name of the Suez Canal, right? So it is one of the best example of the canal which is connecting two rivers from and it is the busiest river in the world, or busiest canal you can say. The another is the Panama Canal and the Kiel Canal. Okay, so these canals are well known and they are very famous for the waterways. Now the next one is sea routes. Now as you all know that sea routes and ocean routes, they are specially used for international trade, and the important sea routes, which are all the important sea routes? The North Atlantic route, which connects Eastern North America and Western Europe. It is the busiest route in the world. Now which is the busiest ocean route or sea route? North Atlantic route and North America and Western Europe. So this is the busiest route. Means you will find lots of ship over there, and it is all having the traffic in the particular area. Then the Mediterranean and Indian Ocean route, which connects the countries of Europe with East Africa, South Asia and Far East. So this is also the one of the important routes, sea route. Then the third one is the Cape route between West Europe and the Far East, Australia and New Zealand, which was important before the construction of the Suez Canal. Now before the construction of the Suez Canal, this Cape route was used for transportation of goods and people from one place to another place. And after the construction of the Suez Canal, this route, it has not lost the importance, but the importance of this route has been declined. See in this your book, these are the major map. This is showing about the major air routes, and plus on this page you will see page number 137. You will see the major rails and the major sea routes of the world. The indications are given like over here. If it is a black line, then these are the major roads. If they are dotted blue lines, then it is showing the major sea routes or the ocean routes in the different parts of the world. You can see, have a look at the pictures, okay, on the map. Over here in this map, it is showing all the major air routes. Okay, I hope you people are understanding. Then, which are the other important seaports in the world? For example, Shanghai, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Mumbai, Singapore, Karachi, Cairo, Durban, Cape Town, London, Rotterdam, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. These are the important seaports of the world. Okay, that means what? They are the ships. They come, or you can say many docks are over there. The ports are used for the import and export purpose, and different economic activities are being held over here. Now the next one is the airways. Now airways, as you know that it has the advantages, more advantages as compared to all the other means, because it is very high freight. High freight means what? You can carry very bulky goods from one place to another place within a short period of time, and still the air is, traveling by air is not popular. Why? Because it is very expensive as compared to the other means of transportation, and that is why it is not so popular as compared to the roadways or the seaways. Sometimes the rough weather is also arising obstacles in the air traffic. Now if the climate is not good, if the storm is there or a heavy rainfall is there, then the air, they cannot take flight. Why? Because the weather, because of the weather climate, the obstacle arises, means what? You cannot drive, the pilot, they cannot drive the aeroplane, they cannot fly the aeroplane in the such weather climatic conditions. Okay, plus airways, they can reach the remotest and the most inaccessible areas, means wherever, for example, if you want to go to the polar regions, there the roadways is not possible, or the waterways are not possible, right? But airways are possible to the remotest areas, because these are the inaccessible areas, means one cannot easily go over there and do anything. So the airways is the best means of transportation if you want to go to such places. Plus, if any natural disaster is occurring, like earthquake, floods, okay, then with the help of these airways, for example, helicopters are used so that they can relieve the people from such conditions and they can take them to the safe place. And a very dense network of air route exists in the Western Europe, Eastern USA, Southeast Asia. So where you will find the air network is very strong, or you can say lots of flights are taking place all the day from one place to another place. It is in the Western Europe, Eastern USA, Southeast Asia. Plus the perishable goods and the costly goods. What are perishable goods? Perishable means what? Which can, they can decompose very soon, like fruits, vegetables. Okay, these are the perishable goods, like milk. So they will, they will not last long, but they will last only for a short period of time. So such goods and the costly goods, they are transported from one place to another place with the help of the airways. There are two types of airways. The first one is domestic airways and the second one is international airways. Now domestic means what? The flights which are taking place between the country, a particular country. Okay, like for example, Mumbai to Ahmedabad, or Ahmedabad to New Delhi, or New Delhi to Chennai. Okay, so these are the examples of the domestic airlines. Plus international means what? For example, New Delhi to Dubai, New Delhi to America. Okay, so these are the international flights. Then most of these companies, they are managed by the private owned companies. There are government owned companies also, like Air India, private are there like Kingfisher, SpiceJet, Indigo. So these are the different types of companies, air companies, which are providing us the facility of aeroplanes or air flights from one place to another place. Then which are the main airports in the world? For example, Mumbai, Tokyo, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, London, Paris, Rome, Frankfurt, Cairo, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Rio de Janeiro, Sydney, Melbourne. Okay, so these are the most famous airports in the world. Then the last part, or the last topic of our today's chapter is communication. Now, as you all know that in the olden days or in the ancient times, the people, they used to send the messages from one place to another place with special messengers. Messengers means what? The person, he used to take the message on the piece of a paper or on a piece of a leaf, and then they used to roll it, and the people used to travel from one place to another place on the horses, and then they used to give the message to a particular person. And some people, they used to use the birds like pigeons for sending the messages from one place to another place. And they used to not only birds, but they used to use animals also. But as the technology has improved, we have, like the technology improved, the new facilities have come in the field of communication. For example, the penny post, it was introduced in the Great Britain. Then India was the first few countries to introduce the airmail in the year as early as 1912, and the invention of the printing press made it possible to print the books, magazine and newspapers on a large scale. So when the printing press was invented, the newspapers was being published, then the magazine were published, the books were published, and because of that the communication developed between the different countries, and the people, they started communicating with each other through the different means of communication. So the means of communication like radio, television, these were introduced, and because of that the communication developed on a great extent. Plus a wireless medium of communication is also introduced, that is mobile phones. Okay, this is one of the very advanced means of communication in the world, and with the, we can communicate with the help of these mass medias at a time with many people, millions of people. For example, if Modi wants to give any message, okay, he can give it through the means of television, radio, or any news channels. Then he can communicate to the whole people of India at one time and through this means of communication. And that is why these means of communications are called mass communication. Means what? At a one particular time you can connect with the millions of people through this means of communication, and such communication is called as mass communication. आप एक ही टाइम पे बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ कम्युनिकेट कर सकते हो अपनी आइडियाज, एंड उस चीज को हम लोग मास कम्युनिकेशन बोलते हैं. ओके, एंड thus all these communications are very useful for conveying the ideas and your messages to different people in the different parts of the world. Now, the introduction of the telegraph, cablegram, telephone, radar, they have created an efficient system of communication. And because of the introduction of all these means of communication, the communication system has become more effective and more advanced. And the satellites, they are playing a major role in the means of communication, because of the satellites one can easily send the messages, like you all know what are the facilities of a mobile phone, right? And how the satellites are being used. If you want to broadcast anything on the particular radio channels or TV channels or on the mobile phones, then you need a facility for the you need a satellite for that. And with the help of the satellites, all these facilities are available for us. Plus it helps in weather forecasting, the development of the fax, electronic mails, emails through the internet, cellular phones. Okay, they have improved the speed of the communication. With the help of the satellites and with the help of this internet and mobile phones, that is cellular phones, the speed of communication has increased. Within seconds you can communicate your message to one person to another person. And that is why this advanced means of communication have turned this huge world into a global village. Means what? This world has become like a small village in front of the communication. Means if you want to communicate to any person to the remotest area, then also you can communicate that person with the help of this means of communication within seconds. Okay, आप कहीं पर भी बैठो, आप इंडिया से अगर आप पोलर रीजन में फोन लगाना चाहते हो तो आप लगा सकते हो with the help of that mobile phones. Why? Because within seconds the communication purpose is taking place. I hope you people have understood this chapter, and if not, please ask me on Google Meet. If you have any doubts, please be free to ask me. Thank you so much.